Kong Skull Island is the latest King Kong movie, this one taking a different approach to the subject matter. How many times have we seen King Kong? You know, it's like the 1930s, he's on Skull Island, they go over there to make a movie, they bring him back, he escapes, climbs up the Empire State Building, gets shot and dies. Like, how many times have we seen that? I guess all King Kong movies are similar in that way. They gotta go to the island to get him and bring him back. And this one, just to spoil it and say, they're not bringing him back to put him on an Empire State Building. They've got different plans for Kong now. They're going to Skull Island, we got scientists, we got soldiers, photographers, all these different people. They're gonna go there to experiment, look around for science and whatever, maybe some ulterior motives, and then they find out there's Kong there, and a lot of other monsters. It's a dangerous place. It's Skull Island. It's hell on earth, really. You know, they were in Nam. It takes place in the 1973, I believe, so it's like they were just in the shit in Nam. It's like they were in the trees, man, the goddamn trees. And now it's like, there's a monkey, man, he's throwing trees, goddamn trees. Got a bunch of Vietnam soldier badasses, and they thought they had the worst of it. Now there's a giant Godzilla-sized monkey, because he's bigger now, and monsters, and it's a survival action popcorn flick of adventure. That's what it is. That's what you gotta expect. I did not go in expecting Apocalypse Now, even if the poster is reminiscent of Apocalypse Now. And I enjoy a good summer popcorn flick. I like him to be a little bit smart. I like it to feel like it's made with competence and respect to the audience. They're not gonna put any dumb shit on there and expect us to eat it like Michael Bay usually does with the Transformers movie. They gotta have some reverence for the audience's intelligence. And so I went in, come on, let's have fun. It's King Kong, it's a giant monkey. Come on, give me something good. And this movie's directed by Vogt-Roberts, the guy who made Kings of Summer, a little known movie, a little seen movie, but I saw it and really enjoyed it. It's this little indie flick about these teenage boys living in the woods. It was a really good movie. I thought it was fantastic, a great coming-of-age story. So him doing this, it's a big step up in scale for the type of movie he makes. And we've got quite the cast. We got Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, Samuel L. motherfucking Jackson, John Goodman, Corey Hawkins, we got Toby Kebbell, we got Jason Mitchell. So Corey Hawkins and Jason Mitchell, we got two of the three main members of Straight Outta Compton in this movie. That's just a weird connection. A lot of talented actors, likable people, a bunch of characters. None of them are given character, really. Let's be honest. Of that whole cast, hardly any of them are memorable. Not saying none of them are not likable or anything. I like pretty much most of them as a presence in the movie. But as characters, they're pretty light on development. Yeah, Loki himself, Tom Hiddleston, he's a tracker, so he's good at tracking things. He's kind of smart. He's still a pretty bland, basic character with little to no attributes. He's kind of a badass, maybe a little bit, and he's clever. Brie Larson's a photographer, and it kind of begins and ends there. I guess she's a woman too, so her and Kong will have that thing he always has with the women. There's always a little bit of a like, what is this? I'm intrigued. Kong with the woman. He holds her in his hand. It's great. Brie Larson's just kind of there like, she's a likable presence, but she's there to take pictures. She doesn't really do much. Samuel L. Jackson's given the bulk of character development, and even at times it's still weak, like when we first meet him up with him, we're like, what is he about? And it basically devolves to people die, so he blames Kong for their deaths. He's like, I'm holding that motherfucking monkey responsible, and I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill that big ass ape, motherfucker. And that's what he becomes. And then John Goodman's like always believed in the monsters, so he's the scientist with Corey Hawkins. They're trying to prove the existence of monsters. And there's a bunch of Vietnam soldiers, and all of them are blank slates. They have no personality. There's like a dash of like, here's a joke, so you'll be a little bit funny, so we'll kind of like you in case you die. And then, hey, you were famous, you were in the Planet of the Apes movies. We won't bother with you. Here's a silly ass accent. Go. Like, the character I latch onto the most is Kong, and he's like, is he a character? He's more of a force of nature, much like Godzilla. He's there. He's the king of the island. I guess he is a character. He has a certain personality that they're able to get through. He's the king of the island, the protector of the island from worse things. And there's something about King Kong, he's always likable. This big ape, very masculine, badass. There's something about a giant ape that's just very likable, and when he kicks ass, it's wonderful. And the CG work across the boards is mostly good. I was thinking of how to put it. It's essentially adequate to good. I'm never sold like, oh yes, this is photorealistic. I can't tell where the real stuff ends and CGI begins. I'm aware it's all phony baloney, but it looks good. I'm never like taken out like that looks like crap. It's pretty realistic enough looking, essentially. It looks good enough, and when you got Kong in fights, causing mayhem, it's really impressive, it's really fun. It's got some great epic scale to it. When you first get the reveal of him, the epic reveals, awesome. The build up to it, oh, it's just like you get goosebumps. You're like, yes. And there's a lot of wonderful set pieces and action moments. For an action adventure movie, it'll give you a lot. It's got some very tense moments, almost a little horrific, because Skull Island, the monsters that are there, sometimes can be a little horrific, the shit you see. I know it's a popcorn summer flick for adventure, but it can get a little intense. So the spectacle is on point in what you want. The direction really aids to that, gives it that grand feeling of epicness and badassery you want. Jordan Vogt-Roberts did it right. It has similar problems as Godzilla, and yet it does so many things better in certain terms. It's really epic in scope, badass. It has generic characters, but the movie moves at a good pace so that you're not in a dreary sense of, God, all it is one boring piece of shit kick-ass guy. These characters are boring and I'm just waiting for the monster. Like, you're enjoying the characters, the witty banter, the humor you're getting, a lot of intense action scenarios. So when Kong's not on the screen, you're not dying waiting for him to show up again. But when he does, it's awesome. But even more than Kong being one of the best standouts, even more than him, the biggest force of the movie, the thing that rises above everything else to be the true standout, John C. Reilly. How could he not? The guy, he's awesome. He's one of my favorite actors. He's hilarious in everything, and he can be a good dramatic actor, and this he shows both sides of that. He really is the heart of the movie. He was able to bring me to tears pretty much at one point in the movie. If you've seen the movie, you know when. The guy's so good, so funny, he's wonderful. His character in the movie, John C. Reilly, steals the whole show. When he shows up, it's a breath of fresh air, and it's just every time he's saying any little line or whatever, it's just gold. He's wonderful. John C. Reilly is the best part of the movie. And this movie looks really good. It looks gorgeous. The CG, good, as I said, but like basic cinematography, the use of colors, it's wonderful. It takes place in the Vietnam era, so you got some great music to add personality to it, and just the look of things, the brilliant use of color. It looks gorgeous, beautifully shot. So Kong Skull Island is a summer blockbuster movie that was good enough for what I needed it to be, and it never really rises above its genre of like, oh, it's one of the great ones that will stand out forever because of memorable characters, great writing, great themes. It's a fun blockbuster popcorn movie. It gives you what you want and not much more. It knows what it is, and it never really tries to step out of those boundaries. So in that way, do I respect it, or am I like a little ticked off like, you could have tried for more? It's better than Godzilla. I know I liked that quite a bit when it came out, but me now, that Godzilla movie was a disappointment. This at least gives you Kong a lot. He's a bigger focus of the movie, and there's a more focus on being a fun adventure movie. I would give Kong Skull Island a B. I think it's a fine movie. It's enjoyable, entertaining. It's what I wanted. I was entertained, and I was taken on an adventure and a journey, and I had fun with it. It has a lot to be desired. Better storytelling, better characters. For sure. But the direction, the epic scope and scale, the look of it, the personality, those things really help it stand out to be a fun, entertaining movie, so I enjoyed myself. Comment below, tell me your thoughts on Kong Skull Island, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Well, that's enough of this now.